One.
The Dems, or I should say Democrats, are terrified about young voters voting for Trump. They're so terrified that they don't want to do much voter registration because they're afraid they're going to register people that are going to vote for Trump. Now, they pushed this on conservatives and Republicans a while back, talking about, oh, we're being disenfranchised. Now they don't even want to do voter registration. They're so terrified that these young voters are going to vote for Trump. We've got that. We've got The Rock. We've got Charlamagne the God. We've got it all coming up next. Hello. It is Saturday. Yes, Saturday night. And it's time for Pop and Politics. We are talking about the latest in hot topics, news, and entertainment. I'm KJ, along with my amazing co-host. Of course, tonight we have Crystal.
Hey, guys.
Yes. We have Yana and Shelly E.
Hi, I'm trying to get my lipstick right.
Oh, you will take your time. We got time.
It's 10 o'clock. This is what y'all get. Y'all get.
You're getting us au naturel, sort of. So this is what you're getting. But again, we had to come on here because we got so much to talk about. As I always say, join the conversation by leaving a comment on YouTube or Twitter. We will check the comments periodically throughout the show. And don't just comment, subscribe. Guys, we're here on YouTube. We're also on Rumble. You can listen to us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify under the same name, Pop and Politics. We are an independent media. So if you want to support us, what we do, you can. We love our super chatters. We love donations. Any amount is appreciated. Guys, this is not just a podcast. This is a movement of God-fearing, truth-seeking, America-loving people that understand we have a target on our backs. Why? Because we love freedom. But guess what? We're going to continue to speak out. We're going to continue to stand up against this stuff that's going on. So let's stand together. Every time you subscribe, it does help to amplify our rallying call for freedom. All right, ladies, let's set it off.
Let's go.
All right. So first, this is a late night. How are you guys? Are you guys generally morning people, or you good with the evening?
Oh, this is perfect for me. I'm a night person, especially on the weekend.
Okay.
I'm not an early morning person. You know me. I don't like last minute stuff. So let's go.
Right.
Early mornings for me. So y'all are gonna see me yawning, but it's all good. I'm ready to talk about this.
All right. Well, this is how committed we are and dedicated, guys, because we had to come on here. There's so much to talk about. So we're going to jump right into it. I'm a night person. I'm a night owl. I'll stay up all night, but I am not a morning person at all. All right. So we're going to start off with Charlamagne the God. So talking about him first, and then we're going to get into this is kind of talking about the Trump stuff. So popular radio host Charlamagne the God got ripped recently for comments he made about DEI. And so he made these comments, and of course the left went crazy about it. I wanted you guys to take a look. I do have a quick clip here. One moment, please. All right. Here we are. So take a look at this. Let's see here.
Training is like damn for racism. And with him.
All right, here we are. This is him in the comments he made. Then when I want to get you guys to respond.
Will you all stop applauding everything I say? The truth about DEI is that although it's well-intentioned, it's mostly garbage, okay? It's kind of like the Black Little Mermaid. Just because racists hate it doesn't mean it's good. And you know I'm right, because every one of you has sat through one of those diversity training sessions and thought, this is some bullshit. And it's not just you. Over 900 studies have shown that DEI programs don't make the workplace better for minorities. In fact, it can actually make things worse because of the backlash effect. Remember DARE from school? Y'all remember DARE?
I remember DARE.
She said, woo. DARE was like DARE for racism. And you all know how effective that was.
All right.
Ooh, Roland Martin. Uncle Roro was mad.
Who?
Uncle Roro.
Oh, Roland Martin. Okay, yeah, we're gonna get into him.
That's what I call him.
Can you guys believe that? I mean, for you guys, for the people watching who don't know, Charlamagne is a host. We talked about him on the show before on The Breakfast Club. The Breakfast Club is a show that comes on Urban Media. Huge audience. Kamala Harris has been on there. Biden's been on there. They always have a lot of leftists. They lean very left. So it's shocking that he came out with these comments. I want to get your thoughts on this, Shelley.
Look, I thought Charlamagne was funny, but make no mistake, he was not speaking from a conservative perspective. His ultimate conclusion is that although DEI doesn't work, basically something better needs to be in its place. I don't know what, but that's what he was saying. He was funny in his own right. I even laughed, at some of his mocking. But yes, they're going to come after him because his conclusion was ultimately siding with the right in that it doesn't work. However, his other fix for it was another leftist perspective. So, whatever.
Yeah, what are your thoughts on this, Crystal? Do you think this is going to have any sway? I mean, DEI has been in the headlines a lot recently.
Charlamagne, not the God, okay? Like, you are not, like, I just feel like he just needs to stay out of politics. But, for whatever reason, he keeps jumping in there. I agree with Shelley. Like, he always backs like the conservative because he knows that his audience is really waking up. So he still wants to kind of garnish their approval or like keep his credibility. So he like edges and says things like DEI is garbage. First of all, we all know DEI is garbage. But like Shelley was saying at the end, his conclusion was, oh, we need more, we need better, we need more from white people. Oh my God, it's still not enough. And that message like is garbage too, Charlamagne, not the God. Like, make up your mind. Are you going to be a conservative, God-loving, freedom fighter, or are you just going to continue to be this whole lukewarm kind of guy? Because you know what God in the Bible says about lukewarm? It's disgusting, and that's what he is.
Yeah, what are your thoughts on this, Yana? Do you think I know I agree with you ladies so far. I mean, but is this something that you think is going to make waves on the left?
I think he might eventually, if he keeps, using his brain, because even though, yeah, he's still being, leftist in his message, that he's saying that racists did not like the Black Mermaid. Is like, no, like, it's not like that. So, but he might get left behind by the left. Yeah. I mean, that's what they do, is anyone who steps out of line, and that's what he did with those comments, he might get left behind, and then he might start noticing things that he already is starting to notice some things. So he might still try to, kind of dance around that line, but I think he might see some things that might not sit well with him.
Yeah, I mean, I think DEI has it's been in the news a lot lately. Recently they have removed it in Florida. I believe they've removed it in workplace and within education. So they've removed whole departments. People have been let go, and then I guess they've moved those people to other departments. And I'm happy for it. I mean, my old company, they had a DEI training, And the whole thing was based on the idea that we are systemic. There's systemic racism, and you're born. There's Black people are born oppressed. White people are the victimizers. If you're born white, you're inherently racist. And then it talks about perceived bias and things like that, which I'm not so much against the bias, because everyone has bias, and that is something good to talk about when you are interacting with people. But the whole thing about systemic racism and the whole oppressed thing, it's awful. And I think it does start.
I mean, it reinforces more bias.
Right.
So it kind of like people who never even thought about these biases, once they go to this type of training, they're like, oh, I didn't even think about it like that before. I didn't think to look at Black people differently.
White people might think that way, but he was right about when you go to these meetings, you sit there, or these trainings, and you're sitting there like, let me just go ahead and check off the answer because I want to get out this damn class. Yeah. Again, every industry has been infected by some DEI or CRT. Every industry, again, it may not be as blatant or as obvious in some ways, but every industry has. Why? Because most, if not all industries in some way, shape, or form take money from the federal government, who have these mandates in their money provisions.
Yeah, and it's not, honestly, like the DEI programs, they don't work. Like, they don't do anything to solve racism because there's no problem, and they keep trying to find different sets of racism because they want to keep their job. Like, right. It's, to me, it's always a bunch of mean Black people, like meeting women specifically. Like, I mean, like, that's just the truth. Or it's almost like an unhappy liberal white woman with pink hair who has a wife. Like, it's always some weirdo, and they're forcing you to admit that, hey, look at me, you don't like my hair, so you're racist. Like, girl, I didn't even look at I don't even care about you. I don't think about you. I'm happy without my pink hair, and I'm happy with my husband, and I'm happy with my life. Nobody is thinking about you. And those programs now are like just becoming irrelevant. And so I am so glad that hopefully people are saving some money and putting into the things that matter.
And it's waste of resources as well. All these meetings and the time that is spent on something that, because I've experienced it in one company that I worked for, and they would spend, I think, every week or every 2 weeks, like at least an hour on like an equity training.
Yeah. And people are getting tired of it, especially young people. And this brings me to our next topic. I mean, the youth and young people, I pray, and if you look at the data, I believe are starting to wake up. And the Democrats are running scared, so much so that they're thinking about not registering young voters. So, headline in the Washington Post talked about it. Democrats fear typical voter registration efforts might backfire and boost President Trump. So basically, this is reporting influential data scientist Aaron Strauss sparked controversy in Democrat circles when he recently urged Democrat donors to stop registering young voters and Black voters in the run-up of the 2024 election because they will likely vote for Trump. So, is this surprising, Shelley? I mean, this is the same party that was all claiming, Republicans want to disenfranchise Black voters. We don't want to get the Black vote out and things like that. I mean, what is your response to this?
Well, actually, I think it's stupid. I mean, if they're going to vote, they're going to vote. Even if they were registered Democrats, they can still pull the lever for a Republican when they get in the voting booth. That's number one. Number two, whether or not this poll is accurate, I don't know. But this is what I think. I don't think it has anything to do with them necessarily, the Democrats being afraid they're going to vote for Trump. I think the reason that these young people are not voting Democrat is because many of them are progressive and they are upset with Biden because of his handling or the lack thereof of this Gaza-Israel war. That's what I think a lot of them are moving away from the Democrat Party. The reason for, I don't know if they're coming to the right, so I'm not necessarily getting giddy about that either.
Yeah, I mean, recent survey shows young people are supporting Trump larger than a lot of people have anticipated. Crystal, I mean, what are your thoughts on this? I don't want to, I mean, I still believe every vote, we need to get every vote out that we can, for on the right. But I mean, if this has any validity behind it, this is pretty good news.
These people are so evil, and it's like we fall for it every single time. They literally just told us that we have to allow Black people to vote and how they're suppressing Black voters. And then when you realize that the outcome may not work out for you, now all of a sudden you're reneging on that. I'm not surprised, because no young person has cable. They're not watching mainstream media. They're on social media, and there is a social media movement that has completely, it will eradicate Democrats, because unfortunately for the Democrats, their record cannot stand on its own. They almost have to suppress, they have to lie, they have to cheat, because this has been the worst administration in the last, I don't even remember who was worse than them. And so I'm not surprised that the younger people are watching all these memes and watching, they watch TikTok, they watch Instagram, and we're loud on there. Conservatives are loud.
I hope I'm wrong.
Yeah, I mean, Yana, I want to get you in on this. A recent Harvard Caps Harris survey found 57% of voters approved of the job Trump did as president and 41% disapproved. When breaking that approval rating down by age group, a massive 64% majority of Gen Z voters approved of the job Trump did as president. What are your thoughts on these numbers and what the Democrats are saying? They're going to stop registering voters.
Well, it's not surprising. Democrats are afraid of democracy.
Yeah.
And what makes me, it makes me think actually of the time when Democrats were suppressing Black votes. That was during the Jim Crow era. And in the South, where Black votes were actually suppressed. They had all sorts of tests and things that people had to pass in order to vote. And nobody, when they show this in movies, they make it seem like, oh, it's the evil white people just didn't want Black people to vote. Well, there was a reason why they didn't want Black people to vote back then, is because Black people were voting Republican at the time. So that was the reason why Black votes were suppressed. So it's kind of history repeating itself right now. So now they're like, oh, we shouldn't, let's not register.
Well, Yana, to your race point, this is the flip side of what I said earlier. To your race point, millennials tend to be less racist. They are very much, if you want to call it, inclusive. They're more accommodating for all ethnicities. So compared to their great grandparents or their grandparents, they are not this race focused. So to that point, I could see them with social media, like Crystal said, not following the Democrat Party. I'm be a little cautious, because I do know young people are not necessarily, they tend to be, loopy. So
yeah. And you're right about that. So I'm on the fence too, but they're also really self-absorbed. And so that self-absorption could come in the form of, hey, I don't really care. Let me leave this alone. Let me do what I got to do over here. Or it could come in the form of, I'm not about to go to these people's World War III. You are not about to be there. Like he said, you remember that white boy? He was like, Gen Z can't go to war. He was like, we like to eat hot chip and have gate sex. You remember that? So it could, I don't know what.
Go either way.
Either way. Or it could be simply people they're feeling in their pockets. we've talked about this on the show before. I don't know how many people that are now have multiple jobs, 2 and 3 jobs. People are tired of all of this race, kooky leftist, racial bias, this race stuff, and then the trans stuff. Sometimes it feels like we are, just a small people, talking about this. But I think people really think that they have gone nuts. They have lost their mind. Right. And then on top of that, you have President-in-Chief Biden, this old bumbling man. He can barely speak. He can barely walk. He didn't even remember that he had made the Trans Visibility Day proclamation. He was like, I didn't do that. Come in.
He didn't.
People see him. His videos are looped over and over again, like you mentioned, Crystal, on social media and on mainstream media.
Well, and the thing about young people also is that I think, like, remembering myself when I was young, like when something is kind of being pushed down your throat by the authorities, you're not really going to be leaning towards that. So all this stuff about, I'm just thinking, like, if I were, I don't know, 20 years old right now, and everywhere I go, it's like, you gotta accept the trans, and you gotta, be inclusive, and you have to be like all sensitive, and I'll be like, what the heck? Like, why you keep, pushing this on me? Like, I have to make my own decisions about this stuff.
Especially when you're living with your mom and your dad and you're 31. Like, seriously, like, nobody can move out. Nobody, like, housing has become the new normal is $1,500, and it's just so unattainable.
And millennials, some of the research shows millennials are not as, I'm going to say, loyal as other generations. For instance, they don't really believe in, just coming out, going straight to college and staying at a job, 31 job. They will up and go and change real quick. So in that sense, again, it could go either way. I'm still kind of like, okay, we'll see.
Right. We don't have any room for complacency or to, what do they call it? Lift our finger off of the gas. We got to go full speed from today on to November, election night. We got to go full speed. Yeah. Get the word out, talk to people, get voters registration. We don't have any room for complacency.
Right. Yeah, Charlie Kirk was saying it's ours to lose. And unfortunately, I don't know about you, Shelly always says, like, conservative, like, Republicans, we better get with it. Like,
and we gotta turn out and turn up. Turn out and turn up. So
if there's one thing Republicans and conservatives know how to do is mess up a good damn thing.
Oh,
I hope we don't, but
you're right. Speaking of that, like we said, I think people are starting to have a change of heart. One of those people is Dwayne The Rock Johnson. So as you guys know, The Rock came out in the last election and endorsed Biden for 2016. He endorsed him. No, 2020. Yeah, 2020. He endorsed Biden. And recently he was being interviewed on Fox News, and he's had a change of heart. So take a look at this. This is him, and this is also The View. We're going to respond to The View going crazy behind his comments. So this is what he said.
Do I believe we're going to get better? I believe in that. I'm an optimistic guy, and I believe we can get better. The endorsement that I made years ago with Biden was one I thought was the best decision for me at that time. Am I going to do that again this year? That answer's no.
He said, hell no. No.
No. Back then was something that tears me up in my guts. Back then and now, which is division.
So a couple of questions. First of all,
oh yeah, so if somebody these people don't like free will. They don't like people to make up their own minds. Let's see what they say. Come on.
Maybe they're not as relatives.
Yeah. So the question, first of all,
or should I pay any attention to who gives an interview on Fox where they lie every day?
So that didn't even make sense.
Wait, what does that have to do with it?
Day.
How is Fox News lying when the man said it out his own mouth?
That's a cop out. She doesn't know what to say to The Rock. That's what it is.
She doesn't know. But listen to this. This is Sunny or Gloomy talking about it. All right, here we go.
And I think, you know, he's been quite political. I agree with you. And he's been very engaged and very involved. I do think we're living in a time where we have someone running for president that is an existential threat to democracy. Right?
Oh, yeah, like your boy. like Biden.
Someone who has 88, criminal charges, 4 indictments, someone that has vowed to be a dictator on the very first
day.
What
are you talking about?
Now is the time. If you have a platform, you must be active. You must speak out.
So I want to get you guys' response to that. This is the line, I guess. This is the Democrat line now. He's a threat to democracy, and
Yes.
they want
their
him to
line.
be a dictator.
91
They are afraid. They are very afraid. That's it. That's all you need to know. So they are going to come out with all the demagoguery, all the propaganda, all the fear mongering, anything they're going to throw at this election to try to get people afraid to not vote for Trump.
Yeah, Crystal. I mean, who is believing this line now? You can tell it's scripted. It's no thought behind it. There's no facts. There's no numbers. They just say this over and over again.
Let me tell you, they have a demographic, but we are just going to have to tune them out because she's saying the irony of her saying that that Fox News is lying, and she literally just lied. He said that he's gonna be a dictator on day one. He did not say that, and she knows he didn't say it. It's so dishonest. The fact is, your boy is losing, like nobody with their right mind. So good kudos to The Rock for not risking his reputation for endorsing him. Glorilla won't endorse him. Cardi B came out and said this lettuce is $7. What the like, she went off. Like nobody, he is not going to get anybody with any kind of career, any kind of sense, or any kind of anything to say we support him. Like,
oh my gosh, headline news just came across. Hunter Biden fails to endorse Biden because the price of crack has increased. There it is. His own son won't even endorse him. Here we go.
Like Crystal said, all those celebrities, let's add Charlamagne the God. And then with Charlamagne comes a lot of Black people who follow him. They are afraid. That's what I'm keep saying. They are very afraid. Now, let me make this point. The Rock did not come out and say that he was going to vote for Trump. He didn't say he was going to vote against him either. So, the Rock knows that the last time he's taken some hits for his endorsement. But The Rock, guess what? The Rock likes money.
Yeah.
And he does not want to offend his supporters, the people who go to see him in the movies or whatever. The Rock likes to see the green keep coming.
Yeah. So, Yana, what are your thoughts on this?
I mean, I'm glad that The Rock finally is, speaking like a man and grew some balls. I mean, I can't believe he endorsed Biden in the past. That's just embarrassing. And I'm glad that he is realizing it. The View, I mean, it's the same kind of, they think that if they repeat the same phrase, the same word over and over, it becomes true. That's just their tactic. And it's a very they're speaking to like the dumbest masses who are just people are hypnotized. And that's when you talk to the left, people on the left, like, what's wrong with Trump? Oh, he's racist, he is a dictator, and then they can't give a single example.
Exactly. And like we said, I mean, it's Biden who is the big dictator, and his own party is talking about it. We talked about this on Wednesday, how RFK Jr. came out and said how Biden, and it was proven in court, the Biden administration infringed upon his First Amendment rights.
Yep.
I mean, and this Biden and the DOJ have gone after parents for speaking out at PTA meetings. I mean, the list goes on, and no telling what would happen. And I'm telling you, there's proof to this, not just like Sonny and them saying Trump is a dictator with no proof. The Biden administration is actively trying to take away our gun rights. Exactly. I mean, they're trying to ban guns. No telling what would happen if he gets another 4 years.
Gun rights, J6ers, like you said, the free speech with RFK. You not even to mention the economic poverty that people are in even more. And I mean, just your average American who was able to just, like you said, work one job. Maybe if they wanted to work an extra job for overtime for extra money, fine. But now that's like they have to. Yeah. Bacon, eggs are skyrocketing. Don't mess with Americans' food, okay?
Yeah.
You can't buy a couple of loaves of bread, some milk, eggs, or whatever. You got a problem.
And what did we go through during the whole COVID fiasco where everyone was being called, disinformationists, like we were blocked everywhere. We couldn't speak our minds.
Right.
So, I mean, who is the dictator? We lived through real dictatorship in 2020, 21, and part of 2022.
Yeah, and I heard Andrew Tate actually say that they're changing our normal. You remember normal used to be, one person worked and you could afford a house. Then normal became two people worked and you can make ends meet and you can afford a house. Now the new normal is two people work and you still can't afford the house, and that's very normal. And they're normal. It's gonna keep going that way until we're eating the bugs. We own nothing and we be happy. And unfortunately, if we don't get our head out of the clouds, as Marjorie Taylor Greene said, and stop and actually take a chance and pay attention, like this man is going to ruin our country.
Yeah. It was on I was looking for the lady's name, but it was all over the news. Some woman who was at the J6 rally. She did go into the Capitol, and there is video. She just walked in. Oh. I mean, but she doesn't vandalize anything. She was not violent. She's like a grandmother. Yeah. And they're saying that she's up for, I think it's like at least 10 years in prison for just going inside the Capitol at this thing. I was looking for her name.
I saw it. I saw it.
Rachel Powell?
Was it? I think that might be Rachel.
Oh, okay. Rachel Powell.
Rachel Powell. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't even know if this is her, because this was an old elderly lady. It wasn't Rachel Powell. It was another lady.
And it broke my heart because she was just basically crying, saying that these people
is this the
are ruining my life.
Is this the praying grandmother?
Yeah, the praying mother. Yeah, praying grandma. Okay.
And we're just trying to ruin our like why would you want to do that to our citizens? First of all, it's the Capitol is our building. That's the people's house. We can go in there anytime we want to go in there.
Her name is Rebecca Lavrins.
Yeah, I think that is her. Yep. And they showed her
four misdemeanor counts.
Right. Okay. I think it's like up to 10 years in prison or something crazy when I look at it. Yeah.
And the fact that the doors were just open. We have so much evidence already now that the doors were just open. I'm pretty sure this lady did not break any doors to go in there. So if the doors were open and people were walking in, I mean, almost anyone could have wandered in there. So, I mean, that's what the Democrats, the way that they're responding to all this, it is dictatorship. Like we're literally living in dictatorship right now. And they're pretending like the Republicans are the dictators. Yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah, and I'm praying for our January 6th patriots, because like why would you want to do? Why would a country want to do that to its own citizens? Like, those are some of the like most law-abiding citizens, tax-paying citizens. Like, some of them never been in trouble before in their life. It like breaks my heart.
And our
They are
constitution
basically political
actually,
prisoners.
right, exactly. And our constitution actually tells that, you know, you have the duty to fight tyranny.
Yes.
So when these people came out and they felt like, you know, there was tyranny in the country, they were exercising their right.
Yeah. She said she was in there for 10 minutes. She went in there to pray. She's from Colorado Springs, Colorado, 70-something years old. And she's facing jail time, guys. This is who they're calling Trump a dictator, and the Biden administration is giving jail time to grandmas for just walking into the Capitol.
Yeah, and it's not even the fact that
there's been many.
Yeah, it's not even the fact that she's a grandmother. Like, I mean, like, even if she, like, the white men that have been just like completely like demonized, like, just because they were supporting their candidate. Like, I'm sorry, newsflash, Democrats, you are allowed to say, I don't agree with this crappy, phony election. The Constitution allows, I don't care, you don't have to like it. And yes, they are allowed to go up to the Capitol. And yes, you do not get 3 misdemeanors for behaving badly. That's all they get.
This is why when Trump says that they're coming after me, but they're really coming after all of you. I'm just the main one, the face of it all. But they're going at the message to Trump voters or Trump supporters is that this can happen to you when we are in charge. Just because we don't like you, remember, we're deplorable. You know, we are misogynistic. We are haters and transphobic. All of these labels, these demonizing or degrading labels that they place on Trump voters. This is all part of the psychology to prepare, quote unquote, to prepare us to be political prisoners in our own country.
And that's why this transcends political parties. This is about freedom.
Yeah,
this is what we talk about here all the time. This is literally about freedom.
Exactly.
And if people don't get it, you're voting for your own demise to vote for Biden. Yep. I mean, I don't understand how it can be said and seen any clearer. I do want to acknowledge our super chatters tonight. We do have a super chatter here. So we have here Kinsey says Roomba is suing Biden for stealing their algorithm. Oh wow!
Is that true?
I'm not sure.
I don't know. We'll see. Thank you.
That's something. I mean, goodness gracious, this man. They're such idiots in there. They can't even think of their own.
Oh, she's talking about robotic.
Oh,
I just caught it. I was like, I said, I don't think, but I think she was joking. I just
okay. Thank you, though.
Thank you so much. Thank you. We certainly appreciate it. And again, we're here to just continue to talk about freedom, push freedom. Hopefully people listen, people that are on the edge or on the line, not knowing which way to go. Certainly do not vote for Biden. I'm not even, if you weren't going to vote for Trump, that's your business. But I wouldn't vote for Biden because that is literally a vote for your demise. It's a vote for against freedom. And
dig one grave, you better dig 2 because the one you dig just might be for you.
Oh, yep.
That's what they used to say.
Yep.
All right. Well, we are moving right along to Roland Martin. So, So Roland Martin has been doing this. I mean, this guy is such a nut. He is such a nut.
Sunken place. If you are listening to Roland Martin, I don't care who you are, what age, what you are in the sunken place. This man is the dumbest over 60-year-old person I've ever seen in my entire life.
Yeah, but he's got over 1 million subscribers on his podcast.
I'm gonna say something. Y'all ain't gonna like it. Go ahead and play the clip.
Okay. All right, here we are. So this is what we're talking. So Roland Martin recently came out on his podcast and reamed Candace Owens. I mean, he's upset because I don't know if you guys seen, but Candace Owens has been doing. She's been doing a lot of urban media lately. Prior to her leaving Daily Wire, she was doing a lot of urban media. I don't know if she's trying to rebrand herself now or not, but it's driven the left crazy, especially Black Democrats, because she's been received somewhat well. She was on The Breakfast Club. She was on Joe Budden's podcast. She was on somebody else too. She's been all over lately, on places, popping up places where she doesn't normally go, or they would, want to platform her. And now they've been receiving her, and she's been getting good reception. Take a look at him talking about her being on The Breakfast Club. So he's upset she was on The Breakfast Club.
Didn't care about her interview on Joe Budden's podcast or The Breakfast Club. Nothing against Joe, nothing against Envy or Charlamagne, or just hilarious. I just didn't give a damn about Candace because she's not bright. She's not the brightest bulb in the dark room.
She's got nerves.
She doesn't have a degree. Oh,
other people were ripping her to shreds, and again, I didn't care. But then I saw this, and I said, I felt like that Al Pacino character in The Godfather 3. Every time I try to get out, they pull me back in. And so Candace posted this. The most brutal smears I ever faced was the media's attempt to convince Black people, my own community, that I hated them. Finally, Black America recognizing
I hated this.
that were intentionally misled.
I hated this post.
I hope you got the post.
That is thanks in large part to the Breakfast Club interview and Joe Budden.
Candace, Candy Girl. I told you.
Did you get to the part where around 27 minutes when he uninvited her to the cookout?
Media. They're the ones.
And talked about her edges.
That
Fat
was
boy.
me.
Fat boy.
And look, Charlie Kirk, his little racist ass. He comes up to me. He goes, "How you doing?" I was like, "How you doing?" He just looks at me.
Keep going,
I guess he was, bothered because I didn't. I was like,
Uncle Ro was on a roll.
I'm not saying that she's not Black.
Yeah.
What I am saying is, you're not welcome
at the cookout.
To the cookout.
Oh
You're not
God.
welcome to any of our events. You're not welcome to any of our conferences. Because see, when you choose to be a self-hating Black person, then you want us to then listen to you. No. That's not how these things work.
No.
Because see, what you were desperate for, you are now desperate for a platform, and you think I can just, let me just say the things that I want to say. Let me just say these. No.
All right.
I keep going to the, oh, well, you don't have to. He talked about her edges and
oh my God,
like he got some nerve.
I watched it 5 times. Oh my God, I can't be watching that part.
I didn't see the whole thing. I didn't see
the whole thing. You got to see the whole thing.
Uncle
Ro. What are your thoughts on this? So, Shelly, I want to start off with you. I mean,
so a couple of things. Number one, I understand from his perspective and from the left why they are saying and feel that way. I really do. And I mean, another reason why is because a couple of weeks ago, we said some of the same thing, that she was trying to get into the graces of the Black media, almost grifting in a way, or maybe there's a grift, because this was never her space. Most Black people, or a lot of Black people, did not like her. So now you said it, like she's trying to rebrand herself. Uncle Rose said, "Oh, hell no." He said, "Hell to the no. You're not coming to the cookout." Now, where I disagree with Uncle Ro is, Uncle Ro, you know God don't like ugly. You know Black people do not uninvite people to the cookout. When they come to the cookout, they just come on and have your chicken and potato salad. He called the girl, he told her she had unseasoned chicken.
Her raisins and potato salad.
And she did say she didn't like that she said that on the Breakfast Club. What are your thoughts, Crystal?
Uncle Ro reamed Candace.
I okay. So I feel like she deserves it. Like honestly, like you get what you like. What did she think was going to happen? I feel
Exactly.
so bad that she thought that all of a sudden the Black community was going to be like, oh, like, unfortunately, I think that she should have stuck to her guns. Candace does not really like the Black community, and she's right. Like, I mean, like, it's trash. Like, Black culture is trash. And I'm sorry, Uncle Roro, we don't want to come to your cookout. Been going to your cookout for 40 years. Ain't nothing there but cholesterol, diabetes, cards, weed, and smoking. Sorry. I'll have my own cookout, and we'll do it like that.
What are your thoughts here, Yana? I mean, do you agree with this?
I'm not surprised of his reaction. And in fact, I thought it was kind of cringy when she went on like the Breakfast Club and the other shows. I thought it was really cringy because I remember her, how she started, how she was arguing with the Black community and was calling out those ridiculous things that she saw on the left, how she was actually kind of criticizing that kind of like tribal mentality. Like she has said that, and that's what drew a lot of people to her, people who just wanted to hear fresh ideas. And when now she decided to kind of like, oh, let me get back into the tribe sort of thing, and it just felt cringy. It just felt like she was trying too hard, and I don't know.
Let me say this. So I don't know. And it may
you want to go to the cookout, KJ. You want to go to the cookout?
No. What I'm saying is this. This is how I am. So when we spoke about this initially, it was coming from the place of, was she trying to pivot was she trying to pivot her message by, when she went on with the Breakfast Club, was she pivoting? It did seem like a little like she was sort of pivoting slightly to this idea of black. That's what my issue with her was. I'm of the mindset whereas, you can go, I don't have a problem with her going to the Breakfast Club, but go and don't come off as this talking about Black people and we're Black this, Black that, almost sort of like a Black supremacy type of this thing. That's what I didn't like. However,
KJ, on that point,
this.
Okay,
I don't like when people, we can talk about her because we're conservative. I don't like when the Democrats talk about her. That's how I feel. Yep.
I don't know.
That doesn't even make sense.
I feel like this. For the most part, I agree with Candace's message.
We do too.
Right, we all do. So he is coming at her. So when we may say something about something she said or something she's done, it's from a place of, correction, or he's doing this. He hates her. They don't like her. He questions her race, her ethnicity, everything. I don't do that.
We're not doing that.
I don't like when somebody else said something about her. It's sort of like,
I can see what you're saying. I can see what you're saying, KJ. Like, I mean, he just hates her because she had a different message. She didn't have a leftist message, and that's why he hates her. And so
no, this is the part that you guys are not talking about. She got ousted and booted by the people that she betrayed, and now all of a sudden, you want to come holler at the bliggity black.
Yes, he did. Even when his guest said she got boosted from Prager, She got boosted from TPUSA. All these Jewish people, she was useful to them when she was talking about Black people, but then when she tried to talk about them, they got rid of her little ass. That's so I can understand their I don't know what you want to call it, their anger, whatever. I understand their perspective in that sense, because we said the same thing in a way, not so much for her message, but that it seems like she is grifting now to come on back to the Black side. We said the same thing.
Well, I was saying her message was changing slightly, but I don't think it's true or fair to say that she never tried to enter these spaces. Candace was one of the first and only conservatives that was on Revolt TV. What was that, several years ago when they had the hip hop forum? She was pushing back at
and you know what,
go ahead.
They asked. Now, I'm talking on those. One of the people on his panel said, you know, it was always strange, I guess, to them that how did she just come out of somewhere? Now they propped her up.
She's been trying to come on these spaces and they would say no. So this is what I'm saying. She has always tried to go onto the Black spaces. But she was on the Revolt TV thing. They finally let her on there, and they tried to.
I mean, talking with Shelly.
For me, it's not about her going in Black spaces.
Let me just finish this one part. What I'm saying is she has been trying to get into these Black spaces. Previously, they would always say no. Recently, they're starting to say yes. Remember when she
when she spoke about Jews, that's what happened. I mean, that could be what Shelly mentioned. That's part of it. You know, she criticized the Jewish community, the Jewish, thought, and all of a sudden the Black community is now welcoming her. That kind of says something about those.
They're not welcoming. They're not
people who are welcoming her.
They're not going to welcome her.
I don't think they are either.
Yeah, but I think that she should not care because honestly, her original message, you guys, she was not all for the Black community. She went on Revolt TV, and what she was spouting, yes, was all true, but the conservative message is not for Black people. It is for all people and all Americans. They got her on Breakfast Club to say racism is still alive and well. Like, she actually said that. And I was like, that is not pandering. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. That is not the conservative message. And because her message changed, is why she's getting her butt kicked. If she had went on a Breakfast Club and said, look, I am unapologetically who I am. I am not going to try to change my message for you. I'm not going to try to play your little Black girl quiz. I'm either Black because of my skin or I'm not. And I don't care. And that's
And I thought that was really cringy because her whole message originally was that Black people are all different. You know, there's diversity within the community. You know, you don't have to have the same mentality, the same thought. You know, it's everyone has their own background. Yeah. And when she was all like, oh, you know, playing the game and, you know, trying to fit in, it just felt.
It was weird. I mean, honestly, though, I'm thinking they do that game with everybody on there. So
they don't.
Yeah, they do. That game's given to a bunch of people.
I've never seen that game played.
Yeah, I've never seen it played either.
I've never seen it.
Yeah, what I don't. She said no, that she would have been seen as sort of like this stick in the mud.
No, she just should have been who she always is, even when she was on Daily Wire. But one thing I don't agree with Roland Martin. I don't watch him. I just thought this was a hilarious episode. That's number one. Number two, where I disagree with them wholeheartedly is she's not dumb. She's not illiterate. I mean, that was just ignorant. He was just being his Medea self. That's what I call him, the Medea. He really is a Medea. That's what he is. Like, I mean, that was all unnecessary. But I stand on this. I do agree, and I'm saying I understand their perspective of why they're saying, you know, now you're trying to come over here. I understand that. Yeah, I understand that, and I do think that Candace is in maybe a grifting mode right now. Maybe she is because she's looking for a home, so to speak.
Yeah, I don't know if I would call it grifting. I agree with KJ. I don't think I would call it grifting. I do think that it's insecure. Like you have to be you and I made like us girls, we made the decision that if you don't accept me as a conservative Black girl, then I really don't care. I'm not trying to prove anything to you. I've been Black for 40 years, and if you're going to disown me because I believe that everybody is made in the image of God and my skin doesn't define me, then fine, stay over there. And I think that she would have eventually broken that egg so well if she had stayed with that message. But I think she's going to have a lot of recovering to do.
I think so.
She just slightly pivoted. It wasn't a big pivot, KJ, I agree. But even that slight pivot, it just made me feel ugh.
We are the only ones, because she has not felt any type of issue with the right, and that's who you would think she would, if this is the case, if most people feel this way, then they would be turning on her, and they're not. But one thing I will say is she was the one who opened a lot of people's eyes up to the grift of the BLM.
For sure.
And so, and this is why I don't agree with the contention that she has not tried to speak to the Black community, or she did not go to these spaces where the Black community was. She always used to go. She would talk about it, but she would have she was like Candace Owens, she would just spit facts. And if they didn't like it, that was on them. But if you remember when she had her PragerU show, she had, what's his name? The guy from the Griot who was saying men menstruate.
Mark Lamont Hill.
Yeah, Mark Lamont Hill was on there. She had the BLM guy who was, before they exposed BLM. She had multiple people from BLM on the PragerU show. She would always enter these spaces when they would agree to come on, when they would agree to have her on. So for him to say this whole thing, you're not invited to the cookout and all this type of stuff.
She didn't. No, first of all,
he doesn't do any cookouts from the looks of him.
Right. And to her credit, I was asking, well, wait a minute, Uncle Ro, did she even ask to come on your show? I mean, I don't think so. So, to her benefit, I don't think she even asked.
No conservative should go on his show ever.
I disagree with
never
that.
go on.
I think they should.
I totally agree. In order for people, and this is America, and it used to be a time where if you disagreed with someone, you would go on the show and you guys would just fight it out, argue it out, debate it out. Now we've gotten to this situation where you have MSNBC, CNN, all of them saying the same thing on one of these stations, and then Fox is on one station, and you don't get a situation or a space where people hash out the ideas. I would love if she would go on his show.
No,
Roland is read him.
Roland is ignorant and stupid. I do believe that conservatives should go to but you guys, y'all should see how disrespectful. He doesn't allow conservatives to talk at all. Like trying to talk to him is like trying to talk to a brick freaking wall. Like anybody that watches him and can't see that, then I can't help you. So all those million people that follow him, like I actually
what you're saying.
Yeah.
So but like let's just say if we went on his show, my mindset would not be going to try to change his mind. So that's not, like you said, the brick wall, but I would go to have a conversation with him, whether I'm not looking to change his mind.
He can't have a conversation. Y'all seen his
Black conservative perspective was on with him.
I mean, when I say he is so awful, like I saw him on the PPD podcast, and Pat David, all of them were like trying to talk to him. It was literally going over his, like, he is so unintelligent. And so I think it's so funny, the irony that he's calling Candace unintelligent because she doesn't have a degree. Like, dude, you are the worst example of an intelligent man. And then you got the A5A on there. Like, I mean,
oh my gosh.
Like, he is so dumb, y'all.
Yeah.
Dumb.
Let me tell you, I was embarrassed about that too, because a moment of transparency. I was an Alpha Angel in undergrad. So when I'm like, I forgot he was an A5. I'm like, oh,
He's
he is
supposed
so
to be
embarrassing.
smart. Like that's what I'm saying. The alphas are the smart ones, and he is really, really dumb. Like, and I'm not saying you guys. I'm not saying that to be disrespectful. It's just I have watched him. So I am one of the 1 million that subscribe to his channel. So I watch him very often, and I just cannot believe that people listen to the garbage that this man spews. Like he
Same
is
thing with the View. Same thing with the View.
Yeah.
But he's a grown 60-year-old.
Crystal, you know people listen to Aunt Medea.
You're right.
Yeah. He's awful.
I'm just
He's
curious
awful,
to see what will happen with Candace. Like this is an interesting,
Mhm.
I'm just observing, her life journey. And right now I don't predict good things because I feel like she's losing a lot of followers. She's been losing followers, like with her divisive messages that she has had recently, and her leaving people who were supporting her because she had a huge following. And now I don't know what's going to happen because I don't think
I don't know what you're watching, Yana. I gotta disagree with you.
Well, and
first of all, she's increased her following on Twitter. She's up to like 5 million, I think, followers on Twitter. She is nobody. There is no tears to cry over Candace Owens. She is going to come out with a huge platform. Now, whether we will agree with the platform is, that's another question. I mean, again, I agree with most of the things she says. I did not agree with the whole thing with her and Daily Wire, and things like that. But she's going to be fine.
You know what, KJ? You said something, KJ, that. You said something, KJ, that this is, not just about Candace Owens, but even in politics, Republicans, whatever, Democrats, left, right, one of the things that we need to really, really, I would say, digest is that because we don't agree 100% with anybody, that's okay. If we agree 90%, the 10% that we don't now, depending on what it is, but that's okay. Nobody agrees 100% with anybody on anything except yourself.
Yeah, and I was in that, and that's not you. Sometimes you don't even agree with yourself. I was red pilled off of Candace. I love Candace. I think she's beautiful. I think she's smart, and I love that she doesn't have a degree and she's still smart. Sorry, Roland. And I think that she'll do great. She's articulate. She's skinny. She's got jazz to her. But honestly, Yana, people like this messiness.
I mean, her original, the fact that right now she's having more following. I mean, it could be just a reaction to the changes that she, the slight change in her messaging. I don't know, because I feel like she likes to fight. Like that's what I gathered from her. And I don't know, it's like I tried to watch some of her debates and she just doesn't do well in debates. She's better when she's speaking, alone to a crowd. But when it comes to like with someone else, she cannot accept any kind of I don't know, even constructive criticism. That's what I would say that
she's prickly, like Jason Whitlock said. She's very prickly.
Yeah.
I would say that.
She attacks instead of debating. She just attacks.
I think with this one though, like I said, I am the type of person where I can say something about you, but don't come for my people if you're not on that side. That's the only issue I had. Candace Owens, she may be prickly, she may be a little annoying, but she is conservative. She's conservative, so I am not going to take the side of Roland Martin, calling her names, being nasty, talking about she can't come to the cookout. No, Roland, you roly-poly Roland. Nobody's coming to your cookout. The chicken probably overcooked.
I like it like that.
No. Nobody's coming to your cookout.
All flat.
Salad, potatoes not cooked all the way.
All flat.
And whatever, and the banana.
That was just hilarious. That was hilarious.
Yeah, it was really fun. No, it was really funny because I just knew it, because Because Shelly, y'all know we've been in black spaces. I knew that was going to be the response of Negroes like Roland Martin. But I wanted her to be like,
I hope she does go on.
Funky cookout.
Well, she can't. He said she will not. He said she will not darken this doorstep.
Of course not.
He said, look, and she should have said, I know it ain't your cookout ain't gonna have no food there because half of y'all gonna eat it anyway. Like she should have went. That's what I'm saying, Yana. Like she does like to fight. This is the time that you fight, shorty. This is when you go off, and we got your back. Like you said, KJ, we got your back. But she just went kind of quiet, and I'm like,
we'll see. I do have to acknowledge some of these super chatters. Thank you so much, guys. I want to acknowledge these super chatters here. We have Daylor. Says y'all got to remember she is growing as a person. She's only 34.
Good point. Absolutely.
She's still young.
Absolutely.
All right, Daylor again. Thank you so much. He says black spaces weren't inviting her. That's what I said.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. All right, Krista. Hey, Krista.
Hi, Krista.
He says, yes, you conservative ladies need to go on the spew. Oh, please make it happen. Love you all, sisters, and the pop fam. Oh,
we would love to go on this.
We would love to see you on here, Krista. Netta says, oh, thank you so much, Netta. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
Certainly appreciate you all.
Yeah,
all right, so we're moving on to the final topic of the night. This one, I think, is probably one of the most important ones. Is let me see here. We're moving on to Bill Gates. So not sure if you guys have been following this, how the Gates Foundation is behind an effort to end white supremacy in math instruction by eliminating need for students to show work. So they're saying that this is doing white supremacy. So basically it's called a pathway to equitable math instruction. This is pushed out on the Washington Examiner is uncovering it. It's an integrated approach to mathematics that centers Black, they call Latinx, but it's Latinos, and multilingual students in grades 6 through 8, addresses barriers to math equity, and aligns instruction to grade level priority standards. So they seek to develop an anti-racist math practice. So basically, one of the lessons is dismantling racism in mathematics, which decries racist behaviors such as the focus on getting the right answer, requiring students to show their work, and independent practice being valued over teamwork or collaboration. I quote here, he says, white supremacy culture infiltrates math classrooms in everyday teacher actions. Coupled with the beliefs that underlie these actions, they perpetuate educational harm on Black, Latinx, and multilingual students, denying them full access to the world of mathematics. Guys, what they're trying to, I think the Democrats are really trying to kill Black people.
Oh yeah, they hate it.
They have been since the KKK, but that ain't nothing new. Since the KKK and Margaret Sanger.
I mean, someone who
math is about showing your work.
This is nothing but remember during the BLM riots, and then the Smithsonian had that exhibit about all these things that were considered white supremacists showing up on time, doing a good job. This is nothing but a repackaged version of that under this, Bill Gates Foundation, guys. Everything, I'll say not everything, 95% of everything that the Gates Foundation supports and sponsors is detrimental to education, to life, to community, to individuals, period. I bet you if you tell him to when he used that same principle that math is racist, ask him to give up all his money and see how that'll go, see how that'll play.
Bill Gates, he's a tyrant, and he has talked about depopulation. That's one of his programs. Like, he believes that the world should be depopulated because there's too many people using too many resources. And I mean, what he said about math, that made me think of back in slavery times, there was a law that prevented white people essentially from teaching slaves to read. There was a law against teaching because, you know, that created smart people and they would rebel and they would not be okay with the status quo. So right, we talked about this on the show, that last year 0 students in Baltimore were proficient in math, like literally, like nobody was at the grade level. And so this person just wants to make this globe, like the whole countrywide, this problem. And I mean, I think he wants to enslave people, and he wants to be, you know, he's a globalist. He wants to be, he doesn't want anyone questioning, I guess, the supremacy of these evil deep state globalists.
But Crystal, let me ask you this: how is getting the right answer, focus, independent practice, showing your work, how on earth is that equated to white supremacy?
Because Black people say it is. Y'all got to remember, like, Bill Gates is God. He thinks he's God. And so the Blacks are coming to God, who's Bill Gates, and all the other rich white liberals, and saying, this is what we want for our children's future. I do not blame him, because the Roland Martins and all the other people that live in Black world with the Divine Nine and all the rich Blacks are saying, this is what we and our people need. Because if they weren't, Roland Martin would be losing his mind. Are you trying to say that our kids are too stupid? Are you trying to say that our kids can't show our work? But no, this is what they want this is what they want from Bill Gates. This is what they want in DEI. They want special provisions. And I wonder if it would be different if Bill Gates just been a little more truthful about the message and say, we don't think y'all Black behinds can do it. Y'all are not smart enough. So what we're going to do is we're going to hand y'all little Black selves a calculator, and then hopefully you can get to the answer. And then maybe they would revolt.
Yeah, you might be right.
It's dumbing down the population. That's what they want.
Yep.
Yeah.
You don't need to in the Black community. You don't have to. We do it ourselves, Yana. We do it ourselves. We should be so angry. And still, we call this progress. Progress.
Yeah. Yep. Because when you look at some of the things that they're saying, they're talking about, I think what they're trying to get to is people who don't have money to do, independent or work with teams. They don't have the money to show the work, perhaps because of the home, or maybe not the money, but the home life maybe, in shambles.
It makes no sense. No, I think Crystal said exactly right, that they just want to make things easier. So a lot of, I don't know, I would imagine, of course, the students will be okay with that. And their parents who are going to be like, oh, okay, it's going to be easier for my child. Like, the thing is that a lot of kids right now, they're having problems with education. They cannot focus. They have all these attention disorders. And instead of giving them more work and more practice, they want to cut, like make it easier. And that's not the way to teach someone. You have to actually have more challenges in order to learn, not less challenges. So what is happening is that they want to lower the burden on the students, and then they're eventually not going to learn anything.
Yeah, and keep in mind how much influence the Gates Foundation has, particularly on public education. Remember initially they would give out all of these, the Microsoft laptop, things like that. Initially, I guess now it's Google Chromebooks or whatever, but they give to the unions. They support almost every, if not every, every initiative that proves to be destructive to Black people, if you want Black children, the family, the community. And like you said, Crystal, a lot of these Black leftists, the Roland Martins, all these other people, they love Bill Gates because they get to hobnob and look good, and they want to think they want to just have this status show, but it's destroying the children. It's destroying their minds. Bill Gates's children get top-notch education. I bet they know how to show their work.
Yeah, and it's social. You guys, when we keep saying socioeconomics, it is so bad that in PG County, it is the richest Black community in the whole country. And you cannot send your kid to a public school there. That tells you it's not money, y'all. Blacks got problems. Our priorities are all screwed up. And then we have Mr. White Man tell us, hey, instead of actually really trying to help you by telling you the truth, that you need to sit with your child, you need to practice, you need to do this, you need to do that. I'll just say, you know what? Don't even worry about it. And those same little Black children cannot compete at all. And they'll be generations and generations behind. The evil that they are doing, and the fact that the Roland Martins got all this mouth for Candace Owens, and you got all this mouth for Charlamagne the God, and you mum's the word when it comes to the white man billionaire.
Yeah. Well, this is what they want, though. Yep. And we talk about this on the show all the time. We wonder why the Roland Martins. We wonder why the what's the lady on MSNBC? Joy Reid. Sonny Hostin. We wonder why they don't push back against this type of talk, and it's because they're pawns. They're pawns for these white liberals. They're placed in African-American spaces to be the pawn, to lead the Black folks down the wrong road, to be that one spade, the one, just a wrong person to lead these people down the wrong road. And it's part of communism. It's part of Marxism. This is the plan. This is what they do. And this is what these people are. Why do they do it? Because they want power and money. And they know that a small elite of them will stay in power. Their families will prosper, while the rest of the Black community will fail, as it has been failing in urban city after urban city across the country. It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah. And right now, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation for this cause are giving $3.6 million grant to this education trust to push this filth, this idiocy.
Yeah. And you know what? I don't know if this is related at all, but I suspect some kind of way here in Maryland, at least, they are pushing this blueprint for education and this Kerwin plan that they can't fund. So I think in some way, these Bill Gates Foundation types will backdoor fund it, right? But at the same time, class size is going to increase.
Yeah.
So the students are still not going to learn. Teachers are not going to have there's not going to be enough teachers in the classroom. Classes are going to increase. Teachers are still going to be overwhelmed, but the Bill Gates is funding this backdoor, and it's still not a net gain for the students. The students are still going to lose out.
No.
Yeah, and it's so sad because, working out those math problems is not what it is. When's the last time you did algebra, right? After school, but it teaches you to think. And that's what these kids are missing. Like, you need to be able to think. You need to be able to process, and not preparing them is hurting and damaging them like nobody's business.
They don't want them to think, though. They don't want them to be critical thinkers. They don't want that, because what happens when you become critical thinker? Then you push back against the policies that do not make sense. You start to question, well, why are you saying I'm supposed to be a victim and this person because they're white supposed to be oppressed? The oppressor. How does that make sense? Are you saying people are born evil? Are you saying that people? If you're saying someone's born racist, does that mean that they're born evil? It doesn't
I
make
mean,
sense.
the education system, that's what's going to break this country. I'm really concerned because I saw an issue with education as soon as I came to this country. Like the difference of how education is run here than to where I grew up. I mean, we had our own problems, but our schools were on really, like the quality was really high.
Yeah.
And here is just like, it's like an afterthought. People don't really think it's that important. I mean, that's what's going to destroy this country. I'm sorry, like people need to wake up and fix the education system here.
No, they need to
Well,
get
we
their
know
children
that.
out of.
Yeah, and we know you're telling the truth, Yana, because most of the ones that come here legally from other countries are smart as a whip. You have
Even from
Nigerians,
countries,
which
right?
are the largest,
Exactly.
they're the most prosperous group right now in the United States. They come here smart as a whip doing computer science, math, finance, all of those. They're smart as a whip. Asian,
Right.
they
Even
come over here
countries that are considered third world have better education.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, yeah, they might have economic problems and war and whatever, but they teach the kids, first of all, discipline is there.
Yes.
The kids are, respectful. They are using, they know how to spell properly. I mean, they're not on the computer all the time. They're actually writing things down and showing their work. And education is valued in the family. They're not I mean, the problems are crazy here. I mean, we criticized teachers. Yes, there are issues with teachers who are not teaching the proper things here. They're teaching, I don't know, something else, and not actual education. But at the same time, we have, when teachers are trying to teach properly, then we have pushback from the parents that, you're not, I don't know, you're not sensitive enough to my child and things like that. So like it's people just need to unite and understand that the kids are suffering.
Yeah. Because I mean, in Trinidad, like where my family is from, like because school is more than, like we were just saying, like school is teaching them to think. School is teaching them discipline, like how to have friends, how to have relationship, how to work in groups. Like those are all the things that school is supposed to teach you. And so what we got here in America is just,
I think one of the things that we have here in America that other countries may not have is that we have this idea of free education. And when something is given to you for free, where you don't have to really do anything to earn it, all you got to do is show up, you tend to take it for granted.
Yeah.
You had just like our voting system. You have other people in other countries, they will stand in line all day to go vote when they have the right to vote. In our country, we have too many people. It's too much free this, free that. Well,
but
too much
in the other countries too.
Yeah.
No, I'm saying, but it's not taken for granted. There may be different levels, but after a certain grade level in other countries, a lot of times that's not just given to you. You just go. It's not compulsory in that sense. They have to pay. They have to scrape and save, if you will, to send their children to school. A lot of times in other countries. It's not just given free.
I don't know if that's the issue, really. Other countries also have free education, but the respect is there.
Because there's social pressures. It's kind of like, it's the the peer pressure. Like if you are the child who's acting out, you probably you won't fit in at school there. But here, like, it's like you don't fit in if you're the good child. It's it's a nation in decline. And so we really got to pray for our.
It's a cultural issue.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. It's the whole family unit thing. We got to go back to the family.
Right.
I mean, even these third world countries where you see these people who live in poverty, when you think of poverty, what we think of poverty, and they still have a house full of mom, dad, grandma, grandpa. Everybody's living there. Everyone's helping out. So if kids come home, they're getting the help they need, they're getting the food they need, all of that. But here we have single parent households, these single moms, they can't do it. They just cannot do it all. It's not, and when I say they can't do it all so their kids get everything they need to compete. To compete emotionally, the educational piece, all of it. It's just impossible. It's just they're doing it, but it's not in a way to compete.
And then Baltimore
Nobody
City
wants to say it.
And then Baltimore City superintendent is the highest paid employee in all of Maryland, you guys. All of they said like she was up to like over $400,000.
About almost $500,000. And
almost
she just got a raise.
Yes, almost like for the most failing school. Like, so you basically just told us is that these schools don't have to perform. They are babysitters. She is getting paid to just take the job. Please take the job and don't leave and deal with these ignorant parents, these teachers that don't want to be there. Like,
she makes more than the U.S. president.
Yeah, she really does.
For failing school systems.
Failing schools.
Yep.
We do have to close it out, guys. I do want to acknowledge some of our super chatters. We do have an additional super chatter here. All right. So says there's who is that?
Laps Watt.
Oh, Laps Watt says there's brotherhood, then are boundaries. We must enforce walls. Have you ever personally met any W-libs?
White libs?
Oh, all the time.
Yeah, all the time. We're in Baltimore.
Yeah.
They all up
everywhere. We work with them.
They all up and through Baltimore. Okay,
a lot of black ones too. Let's not forget we live in Baltimore.
Right. Yeah, but it's something about y'all. It's something about them white liberals. Can I get an amen? It's something about them black liberals. You kind of expect they've been but them white liberals to look at you as a conservative and tell you don't understand what it's like for black.
They look down. They do two things, and this is why they really set me off. Because they think they're smarter than us.
Yes.
And then two, they hate us because we're not what they want us to be.
Yes.
And because black conservatives are not what they believe we should be, we are not in our place.
Crystal, like you said earlier, like we don't care, because I get that from black and white people. So hell, I mean, like you said,
but it's something about a white, like they tell, and one time I looked at this one lady and she got so mad at me. I mean, so red in the face because I said, I don't think you've had more privilege than I have. She never talked to me again, all because I said, I don't think you had more privilege than I had. And so white liberals, woo!
I'm sorry.
And they're trying to tell you about your life.
Exactly.
I'm sorry. I get it. I mean, I don't disagree with you all, but I get it from both black and white. So it's not even a color thing with me.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're not saying we don't get it from both, but this white liberals are the ones that really grind my gears.
Oh yeah,
and they want to teach you. They want to teach you how to think. Like I've had that.
Place.
Like
right.
You don't know. Like you have to learn, and like they're all like so intellectual. You don't know me.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. All right. So that does it for us tonight. Final thoughts, ladies. I want to start with you, Yana. Final thoughts for the night.
Well, our conversation made me think of community and family. So that is something that we need to keep and stay together, keep your community, and just, focus on being together, being united, and all we need is love.
All right. Crystal, final thought.
Oh my God, you guys follow me on IG. I'm rolling out a special project called Conservative Courage. I really think, like KJ, you're talking about, just this is the year that conservative, y'all got to grow some balls. Y'all need to bring out your MAGA hat. Like, don't let, like, seriously, do not let these people push us in a corner and bully us. Greater is he that is in me than he that is in the world. And you guys, these people are in the world. They do not have the truth, and we have it, and we need to be as bold as lions, but harmless as doves.
All right, Shelly, final thoughts.
I'm going to say it again, strap up. And by the way, I'm going to the range this month and next month. So if you want to go, send me a message on, what is it, YouTube, KJ, or IG. Let me know, and I'll meet you there. We can go and, pop off a few rounds, at the target, because we can't do it for real. But
Yeah.
But let me know. Strap up, show up, speak up, stand up.
All right. And my final thoughts are: be aware and prepare. Similar to what everyone's been saying already. We here on Poppin' Politics, we are a community of God-fearing, truth-seeking, America-loving patriots. And so we got to stick together. As I kind of mentioned about, Candace Owens a little bit, we got to stick together. This is one thing the Republican Party, even, not just conservative, but Republican Party, so fragmented. We're never going to win anything fragmented. Yes, individual thought is encouraged, and it's always, great to do, but we need to stick together and push back against this wicked, crazy left, because they are ruining our country. So that's why, if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to us here on YouTube, share our broadcast, Poppin' Politics, send it in a DM or send it via a text, our link, and subscribe if you have not done so already. Also, I just saw one of our favorites, Super Chat, Mark. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mark.
Oh my gosh. Mark, he says, "Hey, ladies, love y'all as always."
We love you too, Mark.
Appreciate you
so much. All right, so that does it for us tonight. Once again, count your blessings and live a life of purpose. Good night.